always think of this phrase, don't become roommates. I know there's a Instagram page about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think a lot of couples do turn into that over the long run, basically roommates that raise children together. How do you maintain that spark in the long term? Did you implement some practical things to help with that?
Hmm. Well, I think being flirty and fun is something that you can do even when you're raising kids. We tried to just embarrass our kids in the kitchen. Um,
Oh yeah.
have them walk in on us kissing each other and just still be playful. Um, I think that's good for us too, because it is challenging to have kids around and to just keep things loose and fun. We had inside jokes, where you just catch each other's eye, like she's at it again, and things like that that kept us on the same team. Um, I would
Wow.
say too, something that's really helpful is to learn how to talk about your sex life, because that's going to change too, especially when you've got the real tough seasons of babies and toddlers, and then when you've got teenagers and you're just beside yourself. Um, I would encourage couples when they're younger and as they just go through seasons of life to begin talking about their sex life when they're outside the bedroom. Just figure out how to do it and what words work for you, and communicating what you need, what you're happy with, what you're thankful for. Because if you don't, I think that can get pushed aside and become stale. And I just think it's a practice to begin early on. And maybe for some couples, one way to do that is to read a book early on or now. I mean, even in the middle of it, if you read a book and then talk about it, that might help too, to give you something to talk about
Mm-hmm.
if you're not quite sure what. But no matter what your stage is in your relationship, if you read something together and say, what did you think about that? Um, that would be a place to start. If someone feels like, I don't know what to say, I mean, what are we supposed to talk about? But I think, yeah, I think that would be really
Great.
helpful.
Yeah, it's great advice. Yeah, keeping the sex alive, keeping the intimacy. I forget who said it. One of our guys, I think it may have been Will. He was talking about how it's the glue. A lot of times you can't let it. There's a very special thing about the consummative act of man and woman coming together. It's the man with the seed, the woman with the garden, and there's a bit of ritual to it. That's why I respect my Catholic and Orthodox brothers, because they enact some of these things that are symbolic of our faith. And the procreation part, the consummation part, is at its core the same symbolism we have in our faith. It's the man seeding, the woman being this beautiful sort of soil for this thing to grow in the child. And it needs to be a constant reminder that we enjoy and continue to love. I know for when our experience in the church, unfortunately, has been a lot of women weaponizing sex against their husband, or not understanding fully the needs of the husband when it comes to his sexual needs. The way he interprets sex can be very off-putting for some women who don't want to understand the man is different than they are in
Hmm.
terms of needs. And I'd say, especially when having a kid, it's a great advice. Read a book, like educate yourself, let them know, that this man is different than you are, and your man's different than you are too. So you'd say that, I mean, as a wife and you're going through all this, especially on the sex thing, is it okay for a wife to sort of make sure her husband's taken care of, even if she's not feeling up to that job, like aroused, say, does she have to be aroused in order to take care of her man?
Um, this is a great example of couples talking things through. And I think for that couple to talk about the fact of what can this look like for us, for him to say, this is what I would really like right now. This is what I'm missing. And then for her to say, I'm just not feeling it. Either my hormones aren't in a good place, which happens, and I think we fail to go talk to a doctor about it and get some help and actually take hormones, which can start, in your childbearing years too. Or to be able to say, I'm just so tired. This isn't as important to me as it used to be. And what can we do about it? And then for
Mm,
that couple to come to an agreement of, could it look like this? And let's say he says, could it look like you giving me 5 minutes? I think that's totally fair if she understood why he wanted those 5 minutes. If she were to understand, that would just be a release for me that would help me relax. What do you need from me? And she may say, I need a back rub from you 100 times more than I need sex right now. And
mhm,
for him to be able to say, then honey, that's what you can have. Absolutely. Or she may say, I need you to put the kids down to bed so I can get to bed an hour earlier twice a week because I'm so tired. But brainstorming those solutions, I think, is really fair, and I think it takes maturity on the part of the couple. When we were younger, we didn't have that kind of maturity, or maybe we didn't have the realization that that was something that was on the table. I mean, the idea of just saying, "Could we have 5 minute sex?" That was never on the table for, at least I don't think it was when we were younger. Um, I just thought everything had to be 30 minutes and I had to be
mhm.
100% present. And I knew I couldn't be present. So I just said, I'm too tired for that. And so that's a conversation to be had. And I think for men to be open to and not hold it against her if she's not available for 30 minutes or 60 minutes and
Mhm.
what the couple was used to, because she probably can't give herself to that. And then to feel like she's a disappointment to you in that 5 minute space, it's just going to cause it to spiral
Sure.
beyond. But to be able to say, honey, that's incredible. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for giving yourself to me in this moment. Um, I know that this is seasonal. I know that, this it won't always look this way for us. And right now you're amazing.
Right.
You're
That
just doing so much for us and our family. And thank you so much. And I just count it a privilege to be able to give you a
yeah.
back rub or whatever that is. Um, and hopefully that way it wouldn't become manipulative on her part or controlling on her part. And that's a tough one when women begin to manipulate for sex or control, to hold
Yeah,
it.
and it seems like it wouldn't be so subversive at first, it's just the nature of the hormonal cycle, having kids. We
Yeah.
know, women have to feel attractive in order to initiate that and feel legitimately attractive, and sometimes they just don't feel that for themselves, so, the talking and figuring out the dynamics of that whole thing for the sexes is something that doesn't happen often because you're coming out of, say, the honeymoon phase where it's all instinctive. It's not
Hmm.
something you have to talk about. It just kind of manifests itself, and it's different. So it's very good that you're letting people know this is part of the work of marriage. You need to talk about these things. Sure, it might sound like it sucks the spontaneity out of it, but in the end, it actually adds to it. Because these things do graduate and do progress and change. That's why we're in a relationship. So that's excellent information.